Hey mamas, it's your girl Carrie, and welcome back to another episode of Mom Wife Career Life. Today's episode is going to be a short one because if you've listened to this podcast for any amount of time, you already know that I really try hard to practice what I preach. Well, life decided to give me pretty much a really big opportunity to do exactly that. I'm recording this episode from my phone in a kitchen in an Airbnb in Spain, in Barcelona. It's absolutely beautiful. And honestly, this time last week, I wasn't even sure that we were going to make it here. I had every intention of batching a bunch of episodes before we left because I really wanted to just unplug and spend these 2 weeks being fully present with my family. But sometimes life has other plans. Everyone is still sleeping. I've been up for a few hours doing laundry, drinking my coffee, and just enjoying a quiet morning. And then I realized I haven't missed releasing a Tuesday episode in over 3 years, and I'm not about to start now. The quality might be not as good as the rest of my shows, so apologies if it isn't the best. But I know you're going to give me grace. And since today's story also includes how ChatGPT absolutely came in clutch during one of the most stressful weekends we've had in a very long time, I wanted to remind you of my ChatGPT guide for moms. It's not just for meal planning, it's really just to help with that decision fatigue, and it absolutely came in clutch for problem solving when life throws those unexpected curveballs. So make sure you grab my free ChatGPT guide for mom. The link is in show notes. Now let's jump into today's episode. Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle all the many hats you wear as a working mom? Do you want more quality time with your family without distraction of work, time alone to take care of yourself and your needs? Welcome to Mom Wife Career Life. I'm Carrie, a wife, a mom of 3, and a recovering perfectionist. In this podcast, I will teach you how to create balance in your life by implementing healthy habits, organizing your home and your schedule, being so intentional with your time and in your relationships, and most importantly, how to start putting your needs first because no one can pour from an empty cup. Grab that second cup of coffee, or if you're anything like me, your third. It's time to dive into today's episode of Mom Wife Career Life. The 36 hours leading up to us leaving for this trip were an absolute, complete, total whirlwind. We left on a Sunday, and my work week was extra hectic because we had a lot going on. I had worked a lot of extra hours to make sure I was leaving everything in a good place. I even worked late that Friday so that I could close my laptop with complete peace of mind, which I did. Then I started packing, and I left it till the last minute. Well, not really the last minute because I knew I had all of Saturday and Sunday morning to finish, but work was crazy and I was trying to do a little bit of gathering stuff during the week, but I was leaving the majority of the packing to the weekend. But Friday night, I got us into a place where I felt really good. And Russ and I took a deep breath. We got into bed, we turned on the TV, and we just started to get into that vacation mode. And then Kaylee came running into our bedroom in complete panic. And she said, Michael hurt his foot and he's crying. And now, if you know Michael, he is a really tough kid. So for him to be in tears, we knew that something had to be wrong. So we literally jumped out of bed. We ran downstairs. He had his foot propped up on a pillow. And the second I saw how swollen it was already, our minds immediately went to our trip is ruined. And Michael kept trying to convince us through the tears in his eyes to let him just sleep it off. He kept saying, be fine in the morning. But we were leaving for Spain in less than 48 hours. And of course, this happens on a Friday night. I feel like everything happens on the weekends when all the urgent cares are closed. So Russ had to take him to the emergency room. And suddenly this trip that we've been planning for months that involved taking trains through Barcelona and Madrid and Valencia, walking miles every day, staying in Airbnbs, including one that's on the 4th floor. Suddenly it all felt really uncertain. Russ was already talking about canceling the trip and both of us going back to work on Monday. And I looked at him and I said, take a deep breath. Everything is figure outable because there was no way I was logging back on to work on Monday. And I even took a video of Russ and Carrie helping Michael get into the car and said, we're going to laugh about this someday. Maybe not today, but someday. And as they pulled away, I realized I had 2 choices. I could completely spiral or I could solve. And honestly, one of my biggest strengths, and this is something that the corporate world has really helped me develop, is being a strategist. When something goes wrong, my brain immediately asks, okay, what are my options? And I started to mentally walk through every possible scenario. If it's broken, maybe we have to delay our trip because he'll need to get a cast and probably won't be able to get one until Monday. If it's a bad sprain, maybe we could still leave Sunday, but we're definitely going to have to rethink a lot of things. And yes, for about 5 seconds, this thought actually crossed my mind. Or maybe we can just leave Michael home with Granny and go without him. Am I a terrible mother for thinking that? I mean, I obviously wasn't going to leave him home. I wasn't serious, but that did cross my mind for a couple of seconds. And I know I'm not the only mom who's had one of those thoughts pop in her head for like a half a second before immediately thinking, nope, not happening. And then I did something that honestly becomes one of my favorite ways to solve a problem. I opened up ChatGPT and I typed in our entire situation. I explained that my son either had a severe sprain or a broken foot, that we're leaving for Spain in less than 2 days, that would be sightseeing every day, taking trains between 3 cities, staying in Airbnbs, one of them on the fourth floor, and we didn't even know if it had an elevator. And then I asked, what can I get to make navigating this trip doable? And within seconds, it started giving me ideas: a lightweight wheelchair, a knee scooter, a walking boat, different mobility options I hadn't even thought about. And then I jumped over to Amazon, then back to ChatGPT, then back to Amazon, then back to ChatGPT, asking things like, can you use a walking boot on either foot? Because I didn't know that was a thing. They are universal. You can use them on both foot. What kind of cast cover would we need if we ended up getting a cast? What's the best lightweight adjustable wheelchair for tall parents pushing a 150-pound teenager around Europe all day? Because all of us are 5'9" and above, and I didn't want to have to be hunching over and then causing back pain for anyone. I wasn't pretending everything was okay. I was simply gathering information so that I can make the next best decision. And then I started ordering everything that could get there by Sunday: a lightweight wheelchair, a knee scooter, a walking boot, a waterproof cast cover for showers. At that point, it was so close to midnight that next day shipping had become Sunday instead of Saturday, and we were leaving Sunday. So once all of those orders were placed, I immediately started looking for backup plans. I posted on my local mom's Facebook group asking if anyone had a knee scooter we could borrow. I searched Facebook Marketplace. I looked up medical supply stores nearby and checked what time they opened the next morning. I wasn't sitting there wishing the situation away. I was asking, what's my next best step? And Russ, he finally got home around 3 o'clock in the morning, and the diagnosis, a really bad sprain, which was exactly what we were hoping for. We crawled into bed, got a few hours of sleep, and because we'd been up all night, we slept in, which completely threw off my Saturday. Appointments that I had scheduled ended up getting changed, not because of me, but because of the places that we booked them. Then we had these crazy storms rolled in. We lost power as I was at CVS. Russ texted me that every carbon monoxide detector in the house started going off. So I was like, call the fire department, get everyone outside. Thankfully, it ended up just being because of the power outage, but it was one thing after another. Like, you couldn't make up the day that we were having. Then there was Kaylee's very first driving lesson, and it was supposed to start at 10. And normally on Saturdays, I'd already be showered and dressed before 9 o'clock. But because we slept in after the emergency room, I wasn't. I came downstairs all showered and ready around 9:30, and Russ looked at me and said, the instructor came early. And that was honestly my little breaking point. I didn't cry when Michael got hurt, but this one, the tears started flowing, because if you've listened to the show for a little while, you know how sentimental I am. I was absolutely devastated that I missed watching Kaylee pull away for her very first driving lesson. And honestly, I'm getting a little teary-eyed just talking about it. It was another thing to add to the list of things not going according to plan. But I also know that I didn't miss her coming home. So instead of using all that time to pack, which, trust me, I desperately needed with the stay we were having, I sat on my porch waiting for her. I slowed my brain down. I took a deep breath, and I chose to be present for the moment that mattered most to me, watching her drive back into the driveway. And honestly, it ends up working out. I got to get my video of her. I got to give her a little hug when she came back. And the second we walked back into the house, another huge storm rolled in. So I was really glad that he came early, because she would end up being driving in that storm, and my anxiety levels would have completely peaked. That day, there were plenty of curveballs, which included Ashley realizing that she didn't have sneakers. So now a mole trip had to get thrown into the mix with 24 hours before we had to leave. Thankfully, Ross took that one, because there aren't many things that I dislike more than going to the mall with teenage girls. But all of this craziness made me realize something, that so many times when life throws us something unexpected, an injury, a change of job, financial stress, something with one of our kids, we end up spending so much energy wishing it wasn't happening. But wishing, it doesn't move us forward. It freezes us. What actually moves us forward is asking, what's my next best step? And I'm not saying that you can't be upset. Believe me, I had my little pity party too. I was frustrated. I was disappointed, especially because the very last thing I said to Michael before he left the house on Friday night was, don't do anything stupid, which is probably why he tried to go to bed without telling us he was hurt on Friday night. And if Kaylee hadn't heard him come home and wincing in pain, he probably would have gone upstairs, gone to sleep, and we wouldn't have realized how badly he was hurt until the next morning when he tried to walk and I saw how much pain he was in. But boys will be boys. And it really reminded me of something important. You don't have to stay stuck in the frustration. You can acknowledge it, you can feel it, but then you really need to move forward. So I wanted to leave you with these 3 quick tips for the next time that life throws you one of those unexpected curveballs. Number 1, accept reality faster. I didn't spend hours saying this isn't fair. I accepted it was a reality, not because I liked it, but because acceptance, it helps you move into action faster. And in our situation, we didn't have a lot of time. Number 2, focus on what you can control. I couldn't magically heal Michael's ankle, but I could research mobility options. I could order supplies. I could adjust expectations. I can make a plan B and a plan C. And number 3, don't let one problem steal your joy. And I know we do this so often. Our vacation, it already started out differently than we imagined it. We had to move a little slower. We had to skip a few things, but different doesn't automatically mean ruined. The knee scooter, it came in absolutely clutch. For the first few days, he actually had fun scooting around Spain on it for the most part. Some of the touristy stuff where we had to take steps wasn't so much fun carrying it up flights of stairs, but we managed and we adjusted. And 4 days later, he's already walking on it again with an ankle brace, but he's doing okay. He still got to swim. He still got to enjoy an incredible beach day. He still got to spend the day on a private boat, which was amazing. And the pictures and videos of him flying around Spain on that scooter, they're already some of our favorite memories from this trip. So if you're listening to this and you're in the middle of one of those life's crazy curveballs, maybe it's not a vacation, maybe it's work, maybe it's your marriage, maybe it's your finances, maybe it's one of your kids doing something dumb, ask yourself one simple question. What's my next best step? Because you don't have to solve the entire problem today. You just have to take that right next step. Life, it doesn't always go according to plan, but sometimes the moments that almost derail your story become the ones you laugh about the most. So whatever curveball life has thrown your way, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what's my next best step? And then take it, because you don't have to have the full plan figured out. You just have to keep moving forward. Sending you so much love and light from Barcelona. Until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat.
Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute, go on over to iTunes and leave me a review. If you have other stressed out mamas in your life that you feel this podcast could help, take a screenshot of this episode, post it on your Instagram stories and tag me, and let them know that they are not alone and they can create balance in their life too. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover or you just want to connect, DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life. Or come on over and hang out in our free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat.